The greatest grappler of all time, Andre Galvão, is scheduled to face against the King, Gordon Ryan, at the upcoming ADCC World Championship. The main super fight. This is the match that everyone's been waiting to see. And will it happen? You know, what happens if they don't fight? And how did we even get here? I'm going to talk about those three things today and give you guys a bit of a deep dive into the whole Andre Galvão, Gordon Ryan mega super fight. What's up, guys? Ricardo Amendolia here, and before I dig deep into the Andre Galvão, Gordon Ryan mega super fight, I kindly ask that you guys like this video. Make sure you're a subscriber to my YouTube channel. I'm almost at that 10,000 subscriber mark, and it would mean so much if I can break it within the next few weeks. And you know, I got a lot of good stuff coming on the channel, more analysis, more breakdowns, more classic matches, and a whole lot more of really cool jiu-jitsu content. Hope you guys like what I'm doing so far, and make sure you subscribe like I said before. Alright guys, so Andre Galvão, Gordon Ryan, the match that everyone wants to see. You know, before we dig deep, I'm going to kind of lay this out for you. I'm going to break this video down into three portions, okay? So number one, we're going to talk about how we actually got to this point. How did we end up getting to this super fight? Why is Andre Galvão scheduled to fight Gordon Ryan? We're going to take a quick look at the history of that match. Then we're going to look at the chance of, you know, what happens if Andre decides not to fight. You know, who will replace Andre Galvão? I believe I have some good factual evidence based on the history of ADCC to give you some suggestions there. And then at the end, we're going to take a look at, you know, is this fight even going to happen? And I think we may have some answers to that question. So let's get things started. All right, so Andre Galvão, Gordon Ryan, how did we get here? So first off, we're going to talk about Andre Galvão. Andre Galvão is a multiple-time ADCC veteran. Andre is actually 22-4 in ADCC matches. His first time competing in ADCC was 2007. Then he went back again in 2009. He's done the trials twice, won the trials before. And it wasn't until 2011 where he actually won double gold, his division and the open, to earn the chance to fight for the super fight title. So in 2013 in China, Andre fought for the title for the first time, the super fight title, competing against the current super fight champion, Braulio Estima. Braulio was the champion in 2011 after defeating Ronaldo Jacare Souza in the super fight in 2011, and from winning in 2009 the openweight division where he defeated Andre Galvão. So Andre fights Braulio in 2013, defeats Braulio, wins the super fight title. And the way that the ADCC works is whoever wins the open is the super fight contender. If they win the super fight, they are now the champion, and they continue to defend their title from there on in. After that, Andre fought in 2015 against Roberto Cyborg Abreu, who won the open division in 2013. Andre fought Cyborg, defeated Cyborg, I believe it was in Sao Paulo, Brazil, so defended the title for the first time. Then in 2017 in Espoo, Finland, Andre fought against Claudio Calasan's teammate from Atos in a really gritty match. You know, Calasan's, you know, these guys didn't hold back. I was right there commentating. It was an amazing match. And Andre defeated Calasan's by points, once again defending the Super Fight Championship. Then in 2019, Andre's last title defense was against Felipe Pena. Felipe Pena won the championship in 2017 by defeating Gordon Ryan actually in the finals, which we'll get to later. And Andre defeated Felipe Pena, which we're going to get back to. That match is pretty special and pretty important to the story and to this video, but we're going to get there in a sec. So that is essentially Andre's path to becoming the super fight champion. He won in 2011 the open division, defended his title 4 times after that, and you know, is the most winningest super fight champion in ADCC history. Now in 2017, Gordon Ryan first competed at ADCC. He competed in his division and the open. He got gold in his division, beating Keenan Cornelius in the final, and then he got silver in the open division in 2017, losing to Felipe Pena. In 2019, Gordon Ryan bounced back and won double gold, actually defeating Buchecha in the finals of the open division and extending his record to 15-1 in ADCC matches, most, I should add, by submission. Now, if you look at both of these athletes, they have some competitors in common. They have some people that have never really fought each other before, and they're both outstanding in their own regard. I believe Gordon has a little bit of a higher submission rate, but Andre has experience. He's been competing in ADCC since 2007. He's had so many matches, and it's really kind of hard to compare the two, because Andre's had so many more fights, against ADCC champions. But then again, Gordon submitted a lot of ADCC champions. So they're both, so evenly matched. Yeah, but man, I just can't wait to see this. And, that's essentially how we got to this point. Andre defended the title in 2019 by defeating Felipe Pena. Gordon earned his title shot in 2019 by defeating Buchecha in the finals. And then, of course, we saw the famous, square off when they were at the 2019 mats where they were kind of going face-to-face. And it was a big question mark. Would we see them in the next edition of ADCC? Now, before we get to the point of will they actually fight, we have to evaluate the situation because Andre has kind of, been talking a little bit online, saying he wants a little more money and so forth. So it's still a little bit of a question mark at this point whether he's actually going to fight. But what happens if he does not fight is a big question. Who would be the most obvious choices for ADCC? Now, the ADCC loves to have this kind of random selection that they always make the most exciting matches. They get the toughest fighters. But if you look at the ADCC's past, they sort of follow a similar format because, some ADCC matches have had to change. Some people got injured. Some people have had to fall out due to contractual obligations. So what have they done in those cases when maybe the current champion or contender has fallen off? We have a couple of examples, and I'm going to dig deep here into those. Okay, so I think the first and most obvious choice to go against Gordon if Andre Galvão decides not to compete would be Felipe Pena. Now you might be asking why Felipe Pena? Well, in ADCC past, when Roger Gracie earned the Superfight contendership when he was the new openweight champion in 2005, he was scheduled to fight Dean Lister in 2007. Dean Lister could not fight, so the opponent that they chose for him was John Olav Enemo. The reason being, John Olav was one of the last people to defeat Roger Gracie in ADCC, and I believe that was ADCC 2003. So it's not a clear criteria why they chose John, but that is essentially one of the reasons that was explained is because he was one of the last guys to beat Roger Gracie during that time. I think the second most obvious choice would be Buchecha. Buchecha came second place in the absolute, losing to Gordon. Really, really tough match. I think he only lost the penalties, if I'm not mistaken. And, Buchecha, fan favorite, one of the toughest guys, greatest champions in IBJJF and in ADCC history. And I think a lot of people want to see that rematch. And if I know ADCC, they love to put on matches that the fans and, ADCC, geeks like myself like to see. Another angle that the ADCC sometimes uses is the MMA angle. There's always been a very close relationship between mixed martial arts and ADCC. And, what greater champion could they get in the submission fighting world than getting like a former ADCC champion who's also an MMA champion? And one guy that comes to mind is Fabricio Verdum. Fabricio Verdum is an IBJJF World Champion, ADCC World Champion, and it was a UFC heavyweight champion. ADCC loves to bring those MMA guys, so that could be the obvious choice. Now, another angle that they could use is the ADCC Legends angle. And where we saw that in the past was when Dean Lister was originally supposed to fight Ricardo Arona in the ADCC Superfight in 2005. Ricardo Arona could not attend, I think, due to contractual obligations with Pride. So who did they go to? They got Jean-Jacques Machado, a legend of ADCC. So now, let's take a look at that. If they're looking at possible ADCC legends, if we think about the other guys that I mentioned before, maybe they won't be able to, or maybe they just want to go in the division. I feel like one of the choices, and this is based on a recent Instagram story that I saw, which I think would blow everyone's mind, the Battle of the Goats, Roger Gracie. I'm calling it right now. If they can't get the other guys, I think ADCC could actually go to the other GOAT, Hodger Gracie. We could see the greatest ADCC super fight. Just so many options here. If Galvao can't do it, we got Pena, we got Buchecha, we got Verdun, we got Hodger Gracie. So that the fact of the matter is there are some options to make this match and make it one of the greatest matches of an ADCC history. Now, I think the biggest question is, will the match with Andre Galvao happen? I think a lot of people that are following this, kind of drama unfold really forget to realize one thing. Andre retired in 2018. I was with him in Abu Dhabi. He retired in 2018. I did another video about his match with Pena where he actually said, I'm going to retire now, 2018. He fought in a gi tournament in Abu Dhabi, and he was like, that's it, but I'm going to do my last match in ADCC 2019. Of course, he went in, fought Felipe Pena, defeated Felipe Pena, and looked amazing. And, the weird part was, after the match, I think the promoter asked him if he could go do a stare down with Gordon because Gordon won the right to fight the Superfight champion in the next edition, and he accepted. So that's where everyone got a little bit confused on whether he's going to, come out of retirement to fight Gordon. They had a stare down, they shook hands, it was all fun and games there, but since that day, it's been a lot of trash talk online. Gordon, calling out Galvao numerous times, Galvao saying he wants the big money, and, I get asked this every day. Is this match going to happen? I really feel that Galvao, if he looks at the performance he had against Pena, he looked awesome. He fought awesome. If he could keep up that pace, and if he believes he could keep up that pace, I think he'll do the match. But I don't know. There's been so much talk back and forth. It's really hard to say who's going to win. I'm not going to touch that till I get the match confirmed first. We'll go do that in another video. But like I said, technically, Andre retired, but then he, caused a little bit of confusion coming out, doing the stare down. He obliged to the stare down with Gordon Ryan, and I just don't know if it's going to happen. Hopefully we find out soon. They've been talking a lot online, back and forth, ADCC's social media, their social media. Everyone wants to see this. I think, all the other matches in history of grappling aside, I think the only other match that compares to, the demand to see this match would be Eddie Bravo and Royler Gracie 2. I think this is going to be the biggest matches, one of the biggest matches of all time. Can't wait to see it go down. If it does, it's going to be on Flow Grappling. Of course, Flow has the exclusive rights for the ADCC World Championship, so that's going to be amazing. I'm hoping I get to commentate as always, and that's it, guys. Those are kind of my information, my little bit of deep dive into this match and the history of the match. I hope this kind of educated you to, why we could see this match, why maybe we won't see this match. Andre, definitely asking for a little bit more money. I don't know if he's going to get the $1 million paycheck or not, but, hopefully, these guys can figure this out and we get to see the match that everyone wants to see at ADCC. All right, that's it, guys. Ricardo Amendolia here, your ADCC BJJ historian. I hope you guys liked the video. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, share it. And, what do you guys think? Tell me in the comment section. Do you think Andre is going to take the match? Do you think, who should take his spot if he decides not to take the match? Who do you guys want to see against Gordon at the next ADCC? And hopefully, the guys at ADCC can make it happen. And we'll see you guys next time.